Number 7. Supercolor vision. You know when you're arguing with a friend over whether a car is forest green or just dark green? Or maybe you're picking out a paint color and someone insists that eggshell and ivory are dramatically different. For most of us, these are pointless distinctions. But for a select few, they're not being difficult. They're seeing a world of color that you literally cannot comprehend. This isn't a personality quirk. It's a genetic mutation called tetrachromacy. Most humans are trichromats. We have 3 types of cone cells in our eyes for perceiving color: red, green, and blue. Every single color you've ever seen is just your brain mixing signals from these 3 channels. Like an old school TV, tetrachromats, however, have a 4th type of cone cell. This extra cone is usually sensitive to colors in the orange-yellow spectrum, sitting somewhere between what we'd call red and green. This doesn't just add one more color. It opens up an estimated 99 million new shades that are completely invisible to the rest of us. Because the genes for color vision are on the X chromosome, this trait is found almost exclusively in women. To a tetrachromat, a gravel path isn't just gray. It's a sparkling mosaic of subtle lavenders, blues, and greens. A simple green leaf might have a dozen different distinguishable shades. It's like listening to a symphony in ultra-high definition, while everyone else has standard-issue earbuds. The downside? You live in a world designed by people with inferior vision. So while you see a complex tapestry of hues in a beige wall, everyone else just sees a beige wall. Number 6. The no-stink gene. Let's be honest, we're a species obsessed with not smelling like ourselves. The deodorant and antiperspirant industry is a multi-billion-dollar empire built on one simple fear: body odor. We sweat. Bacteria on our skin throw a microscopic party with the proteins in that sweat, and the resulting funk sends us running for a chemical cover-up. But what if you could just opt out? What if your body simply never sent out the invitation for that party in the first place? Welcome to the world of the ABCC11 gene. This magical little snippet of your DNA controls 2 seemingly unrelated things: whether you have wet or dry earwax, and whether you produce the specific chemical in your armpits that bacteria love to eat. If you carry a certain variant of this gene, you get dry earwax, and, more importantly, you don't produce body odor, not a little bit of B. Oh, none. You can go to the gym, run a marathon in the summer heat, and you'll just smell like nothing. You still sweat, but the key ingredient for the smell is missing. This trait is incredibly common in people of East Asian descent, but very rare among other populations. It's like having a bakery where the bakers forgot the recipe for sugar. The customers, the bacteria, can show up, but there's nothing for them to feast on, so they just leave. While billions of us are frantically swiping sticks of aluminum-laced chemicals into our pits every morning, these genetic lottery winners are saving money and avoiding a lifetime of anxiety over whether or not their deodorant has failed them. Their biggest social hurdle is trying to explain that, no, they aren't unhygienic for skipping deodorant, they're just genetically superior. Number 5. The super sprinter. Think back to middle school gym class. There was always that one kid who was just faster. The one who finished the 50-yard dash while everyone else was still halfway down the track, looking like they were running through invisible molasses. You probably chalked it up to them being athletic or trying harder. But what if they were literally built different right down to their muscle fibers? There's a good chance they had the so-called sprinter gene. The gene in question is ACTN3, and its job is to give instructions for building a special protein called alpha-actinin 3. This protein is only found in your fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones responsible for generating short, explosive bursts of power. Think sprinting, jumping, and lifting heavy things. Many of us have a version of the ACTN3 gene that doesn't produce this protein, which actually makes us better suited for endurance activities. But if you have the R variant, your body makes the protein, essentially equipping your muscles with a biological supercharger. Countless studies of elite athletes have shown that top-tier sprinters and powerlifters are overwhelmingly likely to have this specific version of the gene. It gives them a raw, physical advantage that no amount of training can fully replicate. It's like being born with a V8 engine while everyone else is working with a standard 4-cylinder. You can tune up the 4-cylinder all you want, but it's never going to have the same raw power off the starting line. So if you were always the last one picked for the relay race, don't feel too bad. You can just blame your ancestors for handing you the marathon edition of the gene instead of the human rocket one. Number 4, the chimera eyes. There are certain physical traits that are so striking, they seem to be lifted straight out of a fantasy novel. Having 2 different colored eyes is one of them. It's the kind of feature you'd expect to see on a Siberian husky, or the brooding, mysterious hero of a high fantasy epic. But it shows up in humans too. And when it does, It's called heterochromia. It all comes down to melanin, the same pigment that determines your skin and hair color. A gene that controls how melanin is deposited in your irises can sometimes, well, it can get a little indecisive. The result is a different concentration of pigment in each eye. This can be complete heterochromia, where one eye is blue and the other is brown. It can be sectoral, where only a patch of one iris is a different color. Or it can be central, where there's a ring of a different color around your pupil. For most people, it's a harmless genetic quirk they're born with. It's essentially a beautiful typo. The biological artist painting your body got to your eyes, and either ran out of one color of paint or just decided to get creative and use two different tubes. It has absolutely no effect on vision. Its only job is to look cool. It's one of the rare genetic glitches that people actively find beautiful, probably because it doesn't come with an inconvenient side effect, like being unable to sleep or having a skeleton made of rock. Your only real burden is having to answer the question, whoa, are your eyes real? For the rest of your life? Number 3, the broccoli hater. We all know one. That person who claims to despise broccoli with the fiery passion of 1,000 burning suns. The one who gags at the thought of grapefruit for breakfast, or thinks dark chocolate tastes like dirt. We usually write these people off as picky eaters, immature palates that just need to grow up. But what if their protest isn't psychological, but physiological? What if their body is screaming at them that they're eating poison? This isn't pickiness. This is the world of the super taster. It's all thanks to a gene called TSS2R38, which controls how you perceive bitterness. Most of us have a perfectly average version of this gene, but about a quarter of the population has a variant that puts their bitterness receptors into overdrive. To them, the chemical compounds in foods like broccoli, kale, tonic water, and strong coffee aren't just a little bitter. They are overwhelmingly, repellently foul. It's an evolutionary feature that likely helped our ancestors avoid chomping down on toxic plants, which are often intensely bitter. Imagine your taste buds have a volume knob. Most people keep it at a reasonable level, 5. A super taster's knob is permanently stuck at 11, but only for the bitter frequency. So while you're enjoying the complex, earthy notes of an IPA, they're tasting something that their brain registers as a 5-alarm chemical fire. So the next time your friend pushes their Brussels sprouts to the side of the plate with a look of genuine horror, maybe cut them some slack. Their DNA isn't being dramatic. It's just trying to save them from what it perceives as certain death by vegetable. Number 2, the redhead anomaly. Having red hair isn't exactly a 1 in a billion mutation, but the gene responsible for it is a certified weirdo that brings along a whole suite of bizarre, seemingly unrelated side effects. It's like you ordered a car and it showed up with a standard engine and wheels, but also a built-in espresso machine and a mild allergy to Tuesdays. The gene is MC1R, and it doesn't just sit there making your hair red, it messes with everything. The primary job of the MC1R gene is to regulate melanin. The mutated variant that results in fiery red hair and pale, freckled skin is recessive, which is why it's less common. But here's where it gets interesting. That same gene doesn't just hang out in your skin cells. It also has a presence in your central nervous system, specifically in the parts of the brain that manage pain and sensation. The mutation that gives you red hair also seems to rewire your body's entire security system. Because of this, redheads have a famously weird relationship with pain. Studies have shown they are more sensitive to thermal pain, meaning they feel heat and cold more acutely. Yet, they can be less sensitive to other types of pain, like stinging sensations. The most famous consequence is at the doctor's office. Redheads often require up to 20% more general anesthesia to be fully knocked out for surgery. Anesthesiologists literally have to adjust their standard formulas. It's like their nervous system is running a completely different operating system, and the standard pain-blocking software just isn't fully compatible. It's not just a hair color, it's a full-body biological plot twist. Number 1, the viral force field picture, the plot of a post-apocalyptic movie. A devastating virus sweeps across the globe, and humanity is on the brink. But a small, scattered group of people discovers they are mysteriously, completely immune. They can be exposed again and again, but the virus simply can't touch them. This isn't just fiction. For one of the most notorious viruses in modern history, this exact scenario is a biological reality for a very small percentage of the population. The virus is HIV, and the genetic superpower is a mutation known as CCR5 delta 32. Here's how it works. On the surface of your immune cells, you have a protein created by the CCR5 gene. You can think of this protein as a doorknob. To infect a cell, the HIV virus needs to grab onto this specific doorknob to get inside and start replicating. But for people with the delta 32 mutation, That gene is broken, it fails to produce the doorknob, the entire receptor is just gone. So when the HIV virus arrives, it has nothing to grab onto. The cell door has been effectively bricked over. The virus just bounces off, completely unable to establish an infection. This mutation is most common in people of Northern European descent, leading scientists to believe that it likely became more prevalent by offering protection against some other historical plague, possibly smallpox, or even the Black Death. It's a biological shield, forged in the epidemics of the past, that just happens to work perfectly against a modern threat. You could have this trait and never know it. Walking through life with an invisible force field that makes your cells impenetrable to one of humanity's most formidable diseases. It's the ultimate proof that the most powerful mutations aren't always the ones you can see, but the ones buried deep in your code, waiting for the right moment to save your life. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them. End.